Cheers! Welcome to Movie Bitches.
Let's talk about some goddamn Christmas movies.
Whoa, Merry Christmas.
Yeah! First things first, shout out to our Patreon supporters. $5 a month gets you early access. $10 gets you access to our viewing parties. Thank you all for your support. It really means the world. It keeps us going. It keeps us doing all of these things. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We're gonna try and, we meant to do it earlier, but you know, there's no time like the present or the future as it might be. We're gonna try and rejigger our Patreon a little bit. We're gonna come up with some different tier levels and, you know, the new year. It's a New Year's resolution. It's on the to-do list and hopefully we'll get to it by June.
You know, we're doing our best, and that's really all you can do is your best. So pat yourselves on the back, everyone. You made it to the end of 2021.
Yeah, wow.
But second.
Wow. Anyway, yes, shout out to our wine sponsor, Wink. Go to trywink.com/moviebitches to get $22 off your first month of wine. And, you know, it's come in handy. It's a nice thing to just open up a bottle of wine with these movies because otherwise some of them are just interminable. We will get there.
Yes. Yes.
Third things third, make sure to subscribe. Click that subscribe button. Share. Tell all your friends. Subscribe to Movie Bitches. They're hilarious.
Chad was available for half an hour.
Right?
Half an hour, something.
I think that's about it, yeah.
Step out of it.
Let's get into it. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to try and focus mostly on the stuff that we liked or that was a bigger moment in the Christmas pop culture scene. How else would you describe Bitch Who Stole Christmas? I don't know.
The Christmas pop culture scene. Oh boy, yeah. Speaking of sort of the Christmas pop culture scene, and these movies have like become so pop culturally relevant.
Yeah.
I will get to the point of the end of this sentence that they've inversely turned in on themselves, and everyone has become meta.
Yeah. Yes. Everyone.
Speaking of, should we talk about A Clusterfunk Christmas?
Yes. So the Comedy Central movie.
Yes. Written by Anna Gasteyer and Rachel Dratch.
Starring them, and they were mostly the draw for me.
You mean, having now since watched this piece of pop culture art, they were mostly the draw for you?
Even, I didn't like this movie.
I thought it was fine.
I thought it was lazy.
There was some stuff that was fun. It's weird because it was not far enough in one direction of complete and utter parody. It didn't transcend to Airplane or Wet Hot. I mean, and that's a tall order. You know, I mean,
sure.
Don't get me wrong, but it didn't transcend to a full parody where you were just like, laugh a minute, and it also didn't have a unique enough plot to really have you care about what was actually happening. So, you know, here and there, I would be like, what a fun observation. Huh. And then it would be like, and now we're going through the motions of the plot. Oh, that was silly. Look, it's a horse-drawn carriage, but they couldn't afford that horse, so they just put in a horse noise. Well, that's fun.
A horse-drawn carriage.
And now we're going through the motions of the scene. You know, and so it was like almost good.
Almost good. That's what I was saying. Like, I felt like it was lazy, and I don't know. I think for me, the biggest problem with these meta ones is that literally we've been joking about these cliches since we made the drinking game, I don't know, for 4 or 5 years ago.
We might be a little desensitized to the cliches. So, like, we were like, yeah, we've made that joke 10,000 times. Oh, maybe not everyone is on the same page as us.
And I'm sure that's part of it. But I think for me, the other bit of it is that it felt kind of like back in June or whatever of 2020 when like SNL came back and they were like making Zoom jokes and you're like, you guys, this isn't funny. we made these jokes months ago. Like, you are so far behind. Like, what are we doing?
The pace of the world is moving so fast. Anything that has to be in production by the time it comes out, it's dated.
Yeah.
Old news.
Unless it's like a TikTok Christmas movie musical, whatever, that I'm like, maybe these topical jokes are just like, we can leave it. It's going to be old. It's not going to last long at all.
On the positives, I enjoyed the rights-free Christmas knockoffs. I found that to be fun.
Yeah.
Jingle bells clang and jingle bells bang.
Well, I laughed too when they were like, it starts off and they're just showing different cityscapes and they're like New York and it's like this is like Philadelphia or Cleveland or whatever the fuck.
I was thinking it must be someone's speciality. Is that a word? Speciality?
Yep.
That
to make the stock footage wintry intros.
They literally are a second unit team that just films stuff during Christmas.
Yep.
Oh, we got the big giant red balls. We got, they're skating at Rockefeller Center. It's just like there must be someone that this is just what they do. And they're reaping
Isn't that crazy?
the benefits.
And I'm reaping all the benefits.
Oh my God. And I'm...
Maybe it's John Lovitz. Now, if John Lovitz was secretly the second unit director of all of this Christmas cityscape footage... that would be a fresh,
I don't think so.
Fresh joke now.
Did I ever tell you about when he came in when I was working at Tesla?
No!
And he came in high off of his ass and just sat in the fucking passenger seat playing with the screen, listening to music while his wife was shopping in the mall. And
like all I'll eat for Christmas is fruit.
All I'll have for Christmas is fruit. It hit number 588 on the Billboard charts.
Silly stuff going on. Maya Rudolph shows up. It was nice to see her. I wasn't like laughing on the floor.
There were funny parts. Like,
jingle, jingle, it's your bubbly best friend calling. Thought you might want to join me for a little holiday exposition.
And she's like green screened on like a iPad or whatever. I thought the main actress was good. Like, nobody was bad. It shone brightest when they were sort of doubling down on all the jokes, which is always what's the funniest to me. So like, when when her boss calls and he's like, let's talk business for a while. Synergy, out of the box, blah, blah. They just like were spouting, business talk.
On the same page, I've got the bandwidth. Let's move the needle.
Good. It needs synergy.
Copy that. I'll give it 110%. Take it to the next level. Lock it down.
I appreciated the like wall-to-wall scoring.
Can you stop telling me to relax? Some of us find being connected to the real world more important than... Sorry, do you hear that?
And then it turns out it was a little orchestra on the street.
Yes, like the group of the...
Oh, you mean Marty's band?
There was fun jokes in here. It didn't shine the brightest on a whole. It was perfectly fun, and there was funny parts, and there's people I like in it. It wasn't like painful to watch. It just wasn't like, oh man, this is gonna be a classic I'm gonna revisit.
It wasn't quite funny enough all the way through. There were funny bits, and then in between it dragged and dragged. And so it was like, if this was just 45 minutes of like an SNL skit making fun of Christmas movies, I probably would have liked it. But it was an hour and 30 minutes or whatever, and so it's just like, this got too long.
Yeah, they needed more visual jokes, more editing jokes, like the wall-to-wall music, more post-production, putting in the horse whinny, just like beef it up and just joke,
yes.
So we can't even, if one doesn't land, the next one will kind of thing.
Right, you're already on to the next. Yeah, absolutely. It was a B-, I would say, for me.
Yeah.
For Christmas movies, I guess I would say it's like probably a B+, A-. But... For this type, you have to grade it on a scale or whatever, a curve, I don't know.
A bell curve. I did love the mayor who was not Canadian. Oh.
Wait, are you Canadian?
Sorry, Holly, no. I'm super American. I grew up right here, just up the road in this very postal code.
It could have leaned in even harder and it would have been great. So it's a soft recommend.
I recognized the rich... Yeah, soft recommend. I recognized the rich boyfriend from... one of the other ones that I've watched at some point. I was like, hey, I know him. I looked it up, and it was just like Christmas movies.
I've done that a few times this year where I'm like, I know them. They've been in about 10 Hallmark Christmas movies that I have watched over the years. Great.
So, speaking of like comedic failures. Rude.
Whoa.
Per our last conversation, I watched High Holiday.
Oh.
The Cloris Leachman movie.
Right. I mean, here for Cloris. Otherwise, I did not have a great interest.
Right. Tom Arnold, Jennifer Tilly. This was not good. It was like in parts intriguing and then mostly just really bad. And I was like, oh, bummer. It was, I think, rated R or whatever. Like, it's clearly not theatrical, but like TV MA because they say fuck probably 53 times.
Oh.
So my biggest problem, okay, so the premise is a girl and her stoner boyfriend, they're both stoners. He's Indian, her dad's conservative, and you know, she's nervous about going home for the holidays because he's running for governor of South Carolina and he's a, asshole.
This is just the plot of lesbian Kristen Stewart Christmas movie.
Yes,
What is that called?
Happiest Season.
Happiest Season.
Yeah.
Except instead of I'm bringing home my girlfriend, I'm bringing home my Indian boyfriend.
I mean, a little bit, yes. And then also then we put a lot of weed in the salad dressing and my mom used all of it. And so then everyone gets really high, except I didn't know that weed was a psychedelic or that it made her sister and brother-in-law fuck like crazy rabbits everywhere in the house.
It's like Little Italy when they were like dancing on tables and they're like, ooh, it's crazy.
Oh
we had weed.
Weed in the pizza. Ooh, instead of oregano. And I was like, what is this nonsense? If you were too high at Christmas dinner, everyone would just be sitting there like, not like
well, I mean,
a
I guess,
fun,
you know,
crazy
people
movie.
react differently to drugs. But yes, you know, why not just make it ecstasy or something then? I mean, that's really, you've taken it a step further then.
Well, but also it's weird to like drug your family. That's a line you shouldn't cross.
It's weird to drug anyone. You know,
anyone.
That's
yeah, that is
a weird line
unacceptable.
to cross.
To drug someone without their knowledge, it's weird, not okay.
Weird line to cross. Yeah.
What I thought would be more fun would be someone's cooking at their kid's house. There's like magic mushrooms or something somewhere. And they're like, oh, I ground up all of those mushrooms and put them in. I thought they were dried porcinis. And then it's like, ooh, they're all like shrooming and having a trip and like seeing things. And Santa comes to visit or whatever the fuck. You know, I don't know. You could make something crazy out of it. They all have a shared, psychedelic experience together. And they're in a Christmas movie. I love it. This was not that. And then it just was like this whole thing about there was a conservative reporter coming to interview him that night on Christmas night, and I was like, this is stupid, and then it was all bad. It was stupid and slow and bad. The gay son, he turns out to be gay, and he's in love with the next door neighbor's son, who is also, the next door neighbor is also running for governor, and they're like, what's the word for that? Not villains, but like, enemies or whatever.
Opponents?
Rivals, opponents, right? All of those words. The next door neighbor's son, though, had a nice, like, big ass, though. So that was, like, a fun thing when they were together and kissing. They had a kiss. But there was no gay sex. There was a lot of, like, weird humping in, like, the closet and then in the fucking... It was like they were acting like not human beings. And I was like, what is happening? I've never seen this.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like weed has become a pop culturally relevant and accepted... to the point where people know.
Christmas pop culture?
Christmas pop culture, if this was reefer madness, sure, oh my God, look out.
Woo!
Marijuana's gonna get you, or whatever. But at this point, it's like, no, like, yeah, pretty much everyone knows what it's like to be high. So what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's happening. Maybe they were mixing. Were they also just chugging wine? I mean, that would just make me sleepy. But...
Jennifer Tilly she was sipping her white wine, but she was acting pretty normal. She was just having a deep emotional conversation with her daughter about, her failures as a mother. So it's like, okay.
Weed affects people in different ways, but it sounds like boring, and I'm okay.
You're fine. Everyone's fine. No one needs, it was so hard to find. I finally found it on Peacock. No one needs to watch it though. You're fine. Sorry, Cloris.
Cheers to Cloris. Let's go watch her other fabulous movies.
Yes!
Because we love her.
Correct. Yes.
Yes!
Cheers to that.
Yes! Yes! Say it!
I watched another one called Christmas in Tune.
No. Excuse me. It is Reba McEntire's Christmas in Tune. That is the name of this film.
Is that what it's called?
Yes, I know for a fact because... because I kept trying to pull it up on my Apple TV. And I was like, Reba McEntire's Christmas in Tune. Now playing Reba McEntire. and then it would just start going into like a Christmas playlist based off of Reba McEntire. And I was like, I mean, I'm not angry at this.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. But, well, it's weird because so in the movie, by the end, we'll get there, but I'm skipping ahead. Spoiler alert. They write a Christmas song. Her and her ex-husband writing partner duo. But it is not called Christmas in Tune, which would make sense. It's called...
I mean, I guess they're in tune, but like
the title makes sense independently, but if it's Reba McEntire's Christmas in Tune, it makes more of a marketing sense if that was the name of the song. Yep. But it's just called I Needed Christmas, and yes, I downloaded it.
Oh, good. I love it.
So yes, Reba McEntire's Christmas in Tune starts strong with Reba singing a song. It's great. She's great.
Yep.
I will say, this is shade, but the plastic surgery that she got is slightly terrifying. And when she smiled, it looked like the Joker, and it was scary. I'm sorry. It's just the facts. She's great. I love Reba McEntire. Her voice is fabulous. She's fabulous. It was scary.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I can't just not talk about it.
Fair. Speaking of, though, have you seen, oh my God, what's her face from Sex and the City and Holiday in the Wild?
Kristen Davis, did she get crazy plastic surgery?
Crazy plastic surgery.
Aww.
Crazy, horrible plastic surgery. And I'm like, girl. No. Yeah.
Well, her choice.
Also, speaking of Sex and the City, did you hear the thing about, like, Chris Noth and all of that in Peloton?
No idea.
So you know how they brought back the show, right? I mean, we'll get back to Reba, I promise. But you know how they brought back the show?
I know that they brought back the show and that it isn't very good. That is what I've heard.
Well, I'm sure. I haven't watched it yet. And I forget what it's called. It's like, and then that happened, or as soon as you thought.
And so it goes. It sounds like it's a Diane Keaton movie.
Yes.
But it's, in fact, the reboot sequel of Sex and the City.
And before you knew it, or whatever, it's whatever her little catchphrase.
Did Samantha come back? Did Kim Cattrall come back? No. Oh, good for her.
No.
You know what? Good for you, Kim Cattrall. They probably offered her
She is keeping her hip.
Stupid money. They offered her
so much money.
All of the money. And she said no.
I said no!
She said, no, I don't want to be in a position where I'm doing something I don't enjoy for even 1 minute. Bye.
I have enough money. Thank you.
Sure.
I read poetry and sonnets, and he plays the upright bass.
Yamakipiebo, sedere facebo, indog Latin me quoth, UJ, suffer
Spoiler alert, they kill off Mr. Big. He has a heart attack after he's been on the Peloton.
I feel like that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Well, so, I mean, I would think, right, after this aired, then Peloton stock tanked, and there was a whole thing about, like, oh my God, it was the... And then Peloton put together a slapdash ad where, like, he's by the fireplace or something with some other younger girl, and they're like, oh, he's not actually dead. And then they're like, Peloton gives you, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, saying that he faked his own death just so that he could get away from her and, like, it was a whole thing. That went viral. Then they pulled the ad because he has sexual assault,
oh, boy.
Accusers.
That was a roller coaster, Andrew. That was an emotional roller coaster that we just went on.
Yes.
Wow.
And before you knew it, or whatever the fuck the show is called.
Because I said so.
No. That's the worst one, by the way. The worst one.
I don't know. I think Love and Other Wedding Disasters.
Oh, for
that
yes,
was worse.
Yes. And actually, no. I take it back. Because I said so, that's the Mandy Moore one, which is not great, but what's the one where they're like, that you turned it off and you never watched the end of it because you just didn't care?
It's Complicated does not have Diane Keaton in it.
Yes. Oh, shoot, that's right.
That's Meryl. I might have finished
Nancy Myers,
yes,
but not.
I might have watched the last 5 minutes of It's Complicated if Diane Keaton was there, because there would have been a promise of a turtleneck or a tweed or a hat, you know, something. But no. I still don't know.
But anyway.
And I still don't care if she ended up with Steve Martin or Alec Baldwin. I'm free as a bird, having no knowledge of it. So, Reba McEntire, her love interest is one of the Dukes of Hazzard guys whose last name might be Schneider. They were fun. Basically, they were like a couple singing duo, country singing duo.
Okay.
And their daughter has now become an agent, manager, music promoter, venue supplier person. Anyway, her boss basically emotionally blackmails her into getting them together for a Christmas concert. And then she then emotionally blackmails them into getting them together for a Christmas concert. You know, it was fine. It was cute. You know, like it wasn't anything particularly fantastic, but the music was fun. Reba's there. They're singing songs. There was like processes of like, we're going to write this song together. And she's always saying like Reba wisdom, like, those twinkle lights shine brighter when you came around. And he's like, and then he writes a song about it, and you're like, great.
I swear these string lights are shining brighter this year.
That's great. That's great. Wait.
It starts after Reba sings. She's now gone solo, and she's more famous. And her husband, they never actually got divorced. They've just been separated for 10 years.
Okay.
And her husband's doing weddings now.
Oh, free. Don't they make a handsome couple?
What a handsome couple. And I was like, oh no, I thought that was the father-daughter dance. Oh no. Handsome couple? Oh no. Then it turned out it was his agent's like third wedding, so it kind of made sense. But I was like, oh, sweet, it's a father-daughter. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Is John Lovitz there reaping all the benefits?
Sadly, no. I would have truly enjoyed that. Truly. Oh, yeah, because so the daughter is, and I think I can put this in quotes, doing PR for the army. Like, that was like at some point, she's like, I'm doing PR for the army. And I was like, what's that? I don't know what that means. I feel like that's a federal job or what? Like the what? Yeah. Just the whole army, the whole encompassing of the.
Do they have a PR department?
I can't believe I went to my high school reunion and came out with the biggest client of my career.
Yeah, the U.S. Army.
It seemed like a weird, broad generalization, but she then is trying to get them together for a military Christmas concert for the troops. You got to do it for the troops.
So you can tell your clients, no thanks, not now, not forever.
Okay, I guess I'll just tell the United States of America you're not interested.
Her love interest, which, I mean, their plot line was like real bad. He's a officer.
And a gentleman?
He's in the army.
I'm sorry, if you can't do it, I totally understand.
But if I don't do it, it could jeopardize my getting future PR work with the army, right?
I don't know a lot about the military, but he was in the army. Hanging out with Pauly Shore.
Was Pauly Shore there?
And yeah. Lori Petty. Andy Dick was there. It was great. The geese are flying east. What is it?
The geese are migrating south.
Okay, have a nice flight.
Who was it?
Someone who's into birds. I don't know.
I need to rewatch that movie.
I feel like it's bad, and maybe we should.
I'm sure it's terrible.
Or shouldn't. But oh boy, did I unabashedly love Pauly Shore movies as a child. Just.
Yep.
I think Son-in-Law still holds up, though. I'm going to put that out there.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's definitely the best one. Jury Duty, unwatchable. Flat out. Oh, right. This was, so this was their, like, big romantic scene. Her and the army guy. This line just was puzzling to me. He goes, I think I've fallen in love at Christmas for the first time with you.
You know, I think I fall in love at Christmas. The first time. With you.
Does that that mean that
they just fall in love for the first time, or they just fall in love at Christmas for the first time?
Christmas for the
or
first
they just fall in
time?
love with her for the first time?
Or for her for the first time. And also, to start it off with, I think...
I think I fall in love at Christmas. For the first time. With you.
It was a landmine of a sentence, and I had to rewind it, and I just went, they couldn't have done a second pass on that one. Anyway, they realized they loved each other this whole time. Reba McEntire, I think, owns every battery-operated candle in existence. Full stop. There's a blizzard.
Good.
They're all stuck at the house.
Candles everywhere.
It must have been 400 candles. It was insane.
Ooh, I just realized maybe to get over your childhood trauma, I should buy like 1,000 of those little like battery operated like candles, and we can put them in a Christmas tree.
Battery operated candles, because guess what? They don't catch your house on fire. Love them.
Fire extinguisher!
Okay.
You don't have to blow them out. You just go poop.
Yep.
Love them. That was pretty much it. I mean, I did have one question. They sang Happy Birthday at some point, and I was like, did that copyright run out?
Yeah, it's allowed now.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah,
that
a few years
was such
ago.
a weird time when everyone had to sing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow at a birthday party. That was such a weird time.
Right.
But anyway, they do it for the troops, and it's a big success, and they all realize they're in love, and they have a kiss. Oh, because her ex-partner, husband lover, who writes the songs.
Yep.
This was highly inappropriate. They're on a live broadcast around the world.
I needed Christmas to find my way back to you and me.
Joe, what are you doing? We didn't rehearse this.
On stage, when she has already said, I don't know if I'm okay and ready to be vulnerable and love you again. She's already said that. He then just emotionally dumps all of his feelings on her in front of the world and asks her to remarry him. And I was like, this is inappropriate.
Yeah, absolutely not.
That was Christmas in tune. The song is cute.
It was what?
It was cute.
It wasn't Christmas in tune. It was Reba McEntire's Christmas in tune.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the song. So that was Reba McEntire's Christmas in tune. So oddly enough, I watched another movie that was basically the exact same plot as Reba McEntire's Christmas in tune, but was much better, which was strange. It's called One December Night, and it stars Bruce Campbell and Peter Gallagher, and I was like, I'm in.
Oh, right,
Great.
right.
In this one, instead of it being a daughter who's trying to get her parents back together, it's the son and daughter of a sort of like Simon and Garfunkel country duo that has broken up. And they grew up together, and now they've both become music managers. It's a running theme, I guess.
Of course.
Of course.
And again, her boss emotionally blackmails her into getting her father and his partner back together.
So that she has to deal with the son, and so then they fall in love.
Of course.
Of course.
The actors were really good. This one just on a whole just had a better production value, or a more thoughtful production value. Like they show...
What was it on?
I think it was Hallmark, because I looked it up and I thought, surely not. This can't be Hallmark because it's good. It had some emotional resonance. Surely not. Oh,
right.
What? But I looked it up and I'm pretty sure it was Hallmark. They did a good job of like all the memorabilia of the two of them, of Peter Gallagher and Bruce Campbell, like throughout the years when they were younger, and like cardboard cutouts, and here's their album cover, and it wasn't like hilariously bad photoshopping, and I was like, okay, good for you. The costume design was actually really great. I know it's like weird to talk about necessarily, but so the main actress has come in from the city.
The city.
And is now, in the small town where everybody is. And, when you travel for the holidays, you pack a bag with a certain amount of clothes. And she wore the same coat. She paired the same belt with a dress, but on a different day she paired it with jeans. And then she was wearing those jeans, but with a different sweater. And then that sweater showed up over with it. And I was like, you know what? This stuff matters. this sort of
Sure,
realism
makes it feel real.
matters. And she actually had the eensy-weensiest bit of style, which was refreshing. So kudos to that. At a certain point, it takes a turn and becomes rather dramatic. Peter Gallagher was an alcoholic in the past, and she hasn't spoken to him in a really long time, and her mother died, and he wasn't there for her, and they have like a big emotional arc where she has to learn to trust him again because he's been sober all these years, and she opens up to the son.
His drinking was scary. Everybody around me excused it. And then Mom got sick. And I just couldn't excuse it anymore.
I don't know if I could trust him. Like, I was sitting there like, is this emotionally resonating? What is this? What is this? I'm watching a Hallmark movie?
You know what it is? Actors.
Actors.
Wow. Go figure.
Wow. What a shock. And then it turns out that Bruce Campbell has Alzheimer's, and like he's recently been diagnosed, and it's going to be their last concert because he's going to start forgetting things, and it's really sad, and you're like, oh my God, this movie, you know, but it's not so sad that you're like, oh my God, I can't get over this. But, you know, now the son is having to deal with that, and they actually kiss before the end credits. Oh. Like they have a kiss that then is interrupted, but they actually kiss before. And they had some chemistry, and I was like, hey, what's this?
That reminds me of that documentary Alive Inside about Alzheimer's and music, and how like the music can help you, like helps patients remember. So that's kind of interesting though, that like maybe actually if they got back together and sang that would help, like, you know.
It's like The Notebook. She remembers how to play it. But I mean, it always comes back to The Notebook, honestly. Like, what are we talking about?
Always.
But
I wrote you every day. Yeah, sorry.
Day for a year. I didn't get them. Anyway, actors. Again, actors, right? Elevating.
Yes.
Taking something that could be shit and making it iconic. Speaking of iconic, Didi Khan shows up, the lady who runs the diner, Norma's Diner, and I was like, ooh, Twin Peaks? Twin Peaks? No, I don't think so. I think it's just, okay, anyway, never mind. This one was good. Like, yes, it was a little heavier than your standard fare, but I got invested in it. And the song at the end was good. Did I go find out that Peter Gallagher, in fact, has an album and get some of those songs? I did.
Wow.
I did.
Very cool. Who knew?
Who knew? So, one December night. It was pretty good.
Terrible title, but otherwise sounds good.
Yeah, it's the name of the song that he wrote for his wife when they met. But then she died, and he doesn't want to sing it because it's too emotional. But then he has to.
I'm the man I want to be for you.
I mean, that sounds like a fairly heartbreaking movie.
Playing up here next to you all these years, it's really been an honor.
Well, thank you, Steve. The same for me.
It was pretty good. I mean, at the end, it's like the big concert, and they're back together, and there's like 40 people in the audience, and I was like, what now? Okay.
I mean, you know, budget, COVID, who knows, whatever.
Oh, and there was this one character who was like the boss's nephew, and so she got him the job and whatever. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because he kind of looked like Steve Zahn, but in Brendan Fraser's Encino Man wig, and I was like, what's this? What is this? And then it made me want to go rewatch Encino Man. Speaking of Pauly Shore, wait, that might be the best one.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I'd call that a Pauly Shore movie, though. It's not a Pauly Shore vehicle, but it's great.
So, quick commercial break, and we'll be back with a whole lot more of Christmas movies. There are quite a few many left to talk about, so get excited.
I'm excited.
There's one in particular that I'm extremely excited to talk about, but you'll have to wait and find out.
Woof, woof.
I'm gonna do it.
Don't give it away.
Oh, right,
okay. So, on a completely different path, I watched A Santa Stakeout with Tamara Mowry, and she was great. She's lovely, charming, cute, sweet. The movie was fine. It was purely 100% watchable. Nothing exciting or different, per se. Actually, that's not true. Okay. Because I feel like a lot of these don't deal with, like, weird, heisty, like, mysteries of it all.
So it was a little bit more intriguing. Was Santa real?
A little bit.
Was Santa the one heisting?
No. No. We were wrong.
That's a disappointment.
Yeah, I don't want to give it away because it was a little bit of a twist that I definitely got, but was like, okay, it was a fun whodunit of it all, which I was like, I could use more of that in these kinds of Christmas movies. That's always fun.
Well, just tell me what happened.
Well, okay. Skip ahead if you don't want to know.
Skip ahead if you don't want to get spoiled for the Santa Stakeout.
Rude. So the booking agent who books the Santa,
who books the venues?
She books the venues and she books the actors and the guy who is playing Santa. She stole the stuff and framed him.
Oh, so there was actually a villain.
There was an actual villain, yeah.
Okay.
And the love interest was kind of cute. It was sweet where he's kind of a mess and he's an assholey cop, which, and she's like, no, we're going to do things the right way and I'm a smart detective and blah, blah, blah. And then they, learn to like each other and she decorates the house for Christmas that they're staking out in, of course.
Of course.
All that kind of stuff. It was cute. He decides to buy the house at the end and is like, do you want to move in with me? And it was like, okay, sure.
We've only known each other for 4 days, but sure.
I mean, well, I whatever. I think it was a month, but sure. Either way, it's this is a lot, but it's a movie.
It's Christmas. It's time to make poor decisions that you'll regret for the rest of the year. So, Santa Stakeout. Serviceable.
Short and sweet. Easy. It was totally watchable.
It's time to talk about the new favorite. I
think it is.
The new benchmark for what the fuck Christmas movies. It's up. It's up there with Spirit of Christmas
level.
It is up there. I'm excited. You'd never know it, but it's called 12 Pups of Christmas. And I kind of wrote it off it's those kittens for Christmas and the whatever and the dog. It's going to be bad. I don't know. I took so many notes. I rewound this movie so many times because I thought I'd missed something, because I couldn't believe something was happening.
It was absolutely insane. I don't know how many times I paused it and shouted, Brian, this movie is insane! I literally was cackling and dying. It was crazy.
It's one of those. It's a gem. It's a diamond in the rough. Yes. Honestly, if you have not watched it, don't watch this. Go watch it. Come back. I'm absolutely serious because it is an experience to behold.
Yes. It's streaming. It's on Hulu. It's on Amazon, IMDb, Tubi, lots of places to go watch it. I highly recommend. You have to go through this journey on your own. Well, don't do it on your own.
I mean,
I would recommend doing it with a group of friends.
If you want to invite people to join you, absolutely. But yeah, you need to experience it.
For yourself. Yeah.
Okay, so here we are. You've been warned. 12 Pups of Christmas. My notes escalated and involved more question marks. It just became more aggressively capsed. And oh boy. So the movie starts. And our main character, whose name I don't recall, doesn't matter.
I don't remember.
Is a pet therapist, and she's really counseling the humans because the pet, that whole thing. And she's got a series of wacky clients, but she's getting out of the city.
The city.
And moving to a different city, Silicon Valley.
It starts and it's she's doing her best ASMR voice, She's this therapist.
I could talk about this actress for...
I got a job offer that I can't turn down, and Travis and I made this decision.
Oh my God.
Well, oh my God. First of all, it starts, and the
Mar
font... It's Mar Vista, and the font is atrocious. It is... I was like, is this Clarissa Explains It All? It's green and it's red and there's curls and you can't read it and it's a disaster and it's awful. And I was like, oh, we're starting right out of the gate. Here we go. Let's do this movie. So yes, this main actress is, my notes escalated from, is she a robot? Why is she a robot? Is she bipolar? Is she a serial killer? Is she an alien from outer space trying to pass herself off as a human. That was the series of events that like occurred throughout the movie where I was just like, this is a mystery wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a puzzle. I don't know what is going on with
honestly.
this lady.
You know, I think that he wants to marry you.
Are you okay?
There's so many weird production mishaps and missteps. She gets in the cab. It's actually shot in New York, a lot of it, which was shocking. And at a certain point I was like, did they have a permit? I don't think they had a permit. I'm not sure if they had one. So she gets into the cab and she's on the phone and she says, I'm finally done work.
Hey, babe, it's me. I'm finally done work.
Like that was the take. That was the take they used. I rewound it 4 times. I finally done work, honey.
Hey, babe, it's me. I'm finally done work.
I'm coming home now. See you soon where we can cook the turkey. I'm finally done work. Like that was where we started. I was like, that was the take we used.
I remember being like, you couldn't have given her another take? What? No, because they weren't permitted in the taxi cab, Avaryl.
Exactly. They were running and gunning. They couldn't wait to have her say it properly.
Turkey and the dressing and everything will be ready for Thanksgiving. Okay, I love you. Bye.
So that was at the point where I was like, why is she a robot? What's happening? Why can't she say lines? What's going on? So then she gets home and her fiance.
Tell my fiancé I'm looking for him. I have lost my fiancé, the poor baby.
And her best friend are cooking dinner without her, even though she wanted to cook dinner. And they haven't packed up their apartment at all, even though they're moving in a week.
Is Papa making the food already?
Like, we're so bad.
Even though we told him to wait?
Then the fiance and best friend are clearly fucking.
Absolutely. I mean, I thought, like, when she was in the cab, like, I'll be home in 5 minutes. I'm done work, honey.
Hey, babe, it's me. I'm finally done work.
I was like, oh, so she's going to find them in bed. And then, no, they were in the kitchen.
Well, if it wasn't a Hallmark movie, then you would find them in the kitchen fucking. But no, he'd be icing her buns, you know, but too much.
So, whisking her away.
Oh, okay, that's cute.
It's a little more G-rated. Yeah. Anyway, she gets home and she's very mad because they baked without her.
Yeah, the dinner goes real sideways real quick when she's just like, well, that's it. He's like, well, I can never say anything right or whatever. And she's like, well, what's that supposed to mean? That's it, I'm leaving. And you're like, whoa.
It was definitely like, oh, you two should not be getting married. Like, it was like, oh no, the writing is already on the wall. But we find out that the next day, they're going to get married at the courthouse and then leave that night and fly to LA or fly to Silicon Valley, fly to San Francisco. Shortly. Again, they're in a cab and they're driving to get married at the courthouse. And he's like, I can't do this. I have to go. Well, I have to leave. Wait, I have to go right now.
But before I have to go right now. Ow.
How long has this been going on? Only 6 months.
But before that, so she storms out from dinner and she's outside and he comes to get her and he's like, well, I don't think I can move or whatever. And he's like clearly not going to go. And she's like, what do you mean? And then the friend is like, coffee, anyone? And you're like, okay, well, whatever. But like, clearly you would finish this conversation after, but they apparently never did.
Right,
and I was
before you get in the cab to get married and all dressed up. Because then. So he gets out of the cab. Now, it seems as if they've stopped randomly, but I guess they have stopped in front of the courthouse. But he just sort of gets out, and there's the best friend. Like, she just knew. And he's like, we didn't want to do it this way. And they confess that they've been having an affair and all these things. I'm like, so the plan was to surprise break up with her in front of the courthouse. So you coordinated it that the best friend would happen to show up.
Or was invited to their wedding and then just was like, ooh, if you object, but like, yeah, I do because I'm in love with your fiance.
But she wasn't dressed.
But she wasn't dressed for it. That's right.
Yeah. It would cost too much money to have a courtroom scene with a judge.
Of course.
Unfortunately, he'll have to tell it to the judge. What?
That then they would, I mean.
And that would require a permit, Avaryl.
It would also require a permit, which I am convinced they did not have. They break up with her, and she gets in another cab.
What, did you get dumped at City Hall?
Mind your own business!
it's like there might as well have been like pigeons scattering on the library steps.
What, did you get dumped at City Hall?
Mind your own business!
She like divulges personal information supposedly to like, if no one else, the driver. Yeah.
Well, because again, this is all done in voiceover because no permit.
Also, she's not good at delivering any sort of emotion or like tonal acting into this line reading, so it's very flat. Mind your own business.
I mean, it was loud, but yeah, no, she was a robot at this point in my eyes. I was like, is it going to be revealed that she is in fact a robot?
But I'm also really sorry to say that her friend was also a terrible actress.
Awful. Everyone in this movie was terrible.
I'm so ashamed.
Truly very strange. Let's say that. I don't know what they were going for, but everyone was strange.
He seemed brilliant, and I can't wait to get to know him.
But the thing is, I wish he were more brilliant, because if he were, then we wouldn't be on the edge of losing the entire company.
So I kept being like, now what's going on with them though?
I mean, we'll get to the sister. I mean, we'll get there.
I mean, we're there. So she moves across the country because she's been left at the altar by her fiance.
I have lost my fiance, the poor baby.
So she literally gets off the plane, gets out of a car at an office building, has a weird interaction with Santa Claus in the elevator.
We could be Mr. and Mrs. Kringle.
Then the receptionist is like, oh,
welcome to Doggone Hotel. You got all this luggage.
I'm totally joking. You must be Aaron.
Yes, we've been expecting you.
Oh, you have?
We have.
I'm just kidding. I know who you are. We've been expecting you.
Honestly,
and then she goes, you have?
Everyone is a robot. It was everyone interacting was weird. She's at a tech company where they're making GPS dog collars, which already exist. And don't they chip dogs anyway? So who cares? Like, I was like, I feel like you already lost the boat on this one. But of course, they're going to lose their funding by Christmas.
Of course.
We meet the sister character.
We'll get there. That was my favorite line that I had to rewind and play back.
My investors have put a cap on my funding. If I don't show them a workable product by our meeting on Christmas Eve in New York City, then they pull my financing.
It was like a parody. He goes, we have to get, if we can't convince these random foreign investors that they have to give us money by Christmas Eve, then the entire company's gonna be ruined.
But they were all, I think, serious. Like, it was not a parody. And yet it was one of the strangest. It was just the strange, everyone was so bizarre. The sister comes in and she's like,
it's my fiance. He kind of like dumped me on my wedding day. I know. You knew?
Immediately, she's like, oh yeah, I was left at the altar and my best friend and blah, blah. She just like pours her whole heart out. And the sister's like, I know.
Oh, no. No, I don't know. What do you mean? No, how would I know? That would be so weird. That would be really creepy. No.
And she's like, what? How would you,
what?
Oh, I just get to know everyone that I hire. And it was like very mysterious and weird. And it was like, okay, is this gonna come up later? Turns out it sort of does.
Sort of. But because of that line, and then like the way that she acts like a creepy, weird robot person, like in the house later on.
Well, then
I texted and was like, is she gonna murder her? Like,
did she lure her here to bury her in her basement?
No, I don't know. What do you mean? No, how would I know? That would be so weird. That would be really creepy. No, I mean, I know because you told me, but like I didn't know before that, so.
She's like, yeah, we don't really need a dog therapist, but, I hired you because.
He sits her down and is like, so what do you do? And why do you do that? And why do you think that would be good fit for this company? And she's like, you hired me. And I'm like, why are they having this interview after she's already moved there? What are we doing? Like, this is crazy. It could have been a Zoom call.
We have to back up because she's talking to the sister. And she's surprised by what the company does. She's like, oh, you make GPS dog collars? And I'm like,
is that the collar? Yeah, that's it.
Did you guys even have an interview? And the way that she says, oh, but the collar is not small. Like, that's how she reads it. It was so weird.
It's so not small.
The line reading. I was like, what is this now? She is an alien who's trying to fit in from outer space.
If I can communicate with my dog like you do, seriously, this is the last dress that I own that doesn't have a hole in it.
Oh my God. So then they take her to her office and there's 12 puppies there.
Right.
And she's like, whatever are these puppies doing here? And in a throwaway line,
Some incompetent ad agency left him here after a photo shoot.
what now? What's this now? That's not a thing. That's what? Also, you would call them and say, you left 12 puppies in our office. You should come pick them up, please. You obviously got them from somewhere.
Somewhere.
What? What's this now? It was just like
This
utter
is such
nonsense.
a weird, like, this whole entire plot line was so bizarre to me.
This seemed like the original plot, right? Like, they then tacked things on because this was the most saccharine, like, throughout the whole movie, it's like, we have to give these 12 puppies to the right families before Christmas because Christmas movie. And they go and they meet people and it's like, oh, this homeless woman got herself off the street with her kids. And she's like, we never thought we could have a puppy. And they have this whole, sad scene and you're like, this is a different movie.
Why are you crying?
The kids have dreamed forever about having a dog. And it just always felt like an impossibility.
This is a different movie. That felt like the bones of what the original script was. And then they were like, and she says, and she gets left at the altar, and he has a secret other family, and this is happening, and then, and the sister's secretly a serial killer.
It's just what you do when you live in the valley and you're a tech guru like me.
Wait, so are you a programmer?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
At some point I was like, is she an elf? Like, is she straight up gonna be Santa's helper?
The last renter was kind of a bit of a Christmas freak, but I don't think you mind that.
There was something weird. It was off.
I just can't get over some of her line readings were like next level. Like, no, you can't even recreate that if you tried. I guess, if someone was cute, like in the face, I would say hi.
I mean, if somebody were to be cute, like in the face or whatever, I might just like say hi, but.
What? It seemed like they were improvising. Again, because they didn't have permits or something. Like, it was like run and gun, run and gun.
Or a script. I don't know.
They were writing it furiously as it was being filmed.
Yeah. But so there's these puppies, and he's like, well, your first job is to get rid of them. And she's like, what? I'm a dog therapist. And he's like, well, I'm the boss and I get to decide. And so Carly's, the sister or whatever, she doesn't get to do anything now. And so you're stuck and you have to get rid of these dogs by Christmas. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
And also,
anyway.
I hate dogs. Oh, we find out why he hates dogs.
This was so stupid.
So then it turns out she seems so surprised by everything that's happening to her. The sister's like, they're just at a house. They're at a house.
At a house.
Again, I don't think there was permitting happening. Here we are at a house and, oh, don't worry. This is where you're going to live. We just lost a roommate and we already have it all set up for you. And don't worry. And I was like, shouldn't you have thought of this before you moved across the country? Wouldn't that be a Did you sell your apartment in New York? What happened?
You would have arranged somewhere to move to before, oh, this is better than a hotel. And I'm like, what? Well, we all live here. We're a work and family. It was like, what the fuck?
Well, then it took a turn and I was like, is this a cult?
You're part of our family now.
We're your family.
This is your new family.
You're part of our family now.
Welcome to the family.
It's like, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't do it.
We accept the one of us.
Gooba gobble, gooba gobble.
We accept her, we accept her. Google gobble, Google gobble.
That's when I was like, is she gonna murder her? Like, what is going on? Oh, we want her skin. It was like very creepy.
Family is passed on. So nice to be with people that are alive and call them family.
What the fuck is going on? What has happened? Well, so then they're having a party that's for her, but also Christmas / they already planned it / you're coming to our party, right? And she's like, oh, I'm kind of jet lagged. And she's like, you're the star of the party. We're part of a family now. Anyway, everyone gets trashed. She gets trashed on her first night at this work party.
In a one-horse open sleigh, all the fields we go, laughing all the way.
And when they were talking to her or something, and she's like, oh, I just love dogs, or I'm a dog therapist. And when she's like drinking that champagne, and she just goes, woof, woof.
No pressure.
Yep, I believe in you. We believe in you. You're gonna do it.
I want to watch that woof, woof on a loop. I rewound it multiple times.
No pressure.
Yep, I believe in you. We believe in you. You're gonna do it.
I love too that everyone at the office, or like at this party that like works at the company, was like,
Trashed.
I've been reading about you and I'm so impressed by your, like, it was so weird.
You must be that famous dog therapist. And everyone just seems high on like height and drunk off their asses, which fair enough, but also it was just like right away. You're part of our family now.
Silicon Valley, I guess. Oh my God, that was the creepiest. There was no setup. There was no scenes to like make it make sense. It was just like creep. Ugh, awful.
So then it becomes sort of this tale of him being like a kind of a misogynist jerk at work and taking credit for people's work and not letting his sister
Oh my God. Oh my God. No. We have to go back to the party. He shows up late.
Right, in the kitchen. Like, just like, oh, hi. I was clearly not here to film with the rest of the cast, so I'm available on this day. Let's film in the kitchen. I honestly, at a certain point, I was like, did this movie get, like, shut down mid-production because of the pandemic, and they just edited together whatever they had and just, like, cobbled a movie together?
Right.
That's what it felt like.
Look, I can't eat, I can't sleep, and I'm a complete mess, and I just wanted to see if we could talk.
But so he's in the kitchen, they're talking.
Why is your company called Doggone?
Because when a dog owner loses their pet, it's gone. Doggone.
It's stupid.
Your name sucks. It's terrible, and you need to change it. And he's
Right,
like, what? Your first order of business is to change my name? And she's like, yeah, doggone doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't it make more sense to be like Pet Tracker or something like that? And she names like
Animal Tracker. It wasn't even pet. It was just Animal Tracker. And I'm like, sure, that's easy to Google.
Right? Because it was a pun with Animal Cracker, I guess.
Just call it what it is. Animal Tracker.
Kind of sounds like Animal Cracker.
The sort of like tech startup conversations were all nonsense, and it was great.
I know, but the technology just doesn't exist.
First, I'll access a secret military spy satellite that's in a geosynchronous orbit over the Midwest.
You're telling me that you can't reverse engineer a cell phone, fit all the Wi-Fi components into a collar?
Then, I'll reposition the transmitter dish in the remote truck to 17.32 degrees east.
We could take the cellular and Wi-Fi components of a cell phone.
We could take the cell phone parts and wrap it around the length of a collar.
Spread them out over the course of a dog collar. That wouldn't be more than, what, 5 inches? And the smallest dog's neck is 6 inches, so...
It's almost too easy.
It would only have to be 5 inches long. That could be any collar. Wow, you're a genius.
On a chihuahua.
It's like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Basically,
what were they doing before?
he's an idiot.
Yes, Prince Mishkin. What can we do for you?
He's a moron. And she, I don't know, has some ideas that aren't great, but he seems to think they're the best.
Obvious.
I mean, it was like absolutely
like,
obvious.
What is?
But the collar is not small.
It's so not small.
So then he takes credit for all of her ideas in the conference room, and that is the catalyst for the rest of their relationship in this movie because she's very upset.
But you know what? I get it. I mean, you're the face of this company, and if any of your employees found out that your new doggy shrink was coming up with ways for you to fix your company, you would look like a fool.
It's not like, oh, she went to business college.
I'm just like a therapist. Like, I don't know anything about finance.
It should have been the sister coming up with all the ideas, and she
Sure.
filtered
And
it
he
through
keeps
the pet
stealing
therapist.
them, yeah.
Or something, and it was like when they were in pet therapy, she got them to communicate or something. But no, it's just her being like, you should do this. Because there were so many like weird things, obviously. So they go and they're dropping off one of the dogs, and because he still doesn't like dogs, but he's trying to learn how to like them. And he was wearing these blue Dockers, and it didn't work. I didn't care for it. But I say this because they have a whole scene where he lets her into the back seat of the car, and then he closes the door, and then we follow him as he slowly walks all the way around to sit in the back seat, where it took me like way too long to realize they had a driver. Like I had to rewind it. I was like, there's no one in the car though. They're just gonna sit in this driveway. And then if you really look, you can see them. But it's like, wouldn't the driver be opening the door for them? No, they didn't have a permit because that's clearly just a driver that was there on the day and they couldn't actually drive the car. They didn't have the insurance for that. We'll just sit in the back seat. Thank you.
That's absolutely what it is.
That's 100% what happened. I'm transpo, like he was just like one of like the union transpo guys that was like, I can sit in this car and it will be insured if I sit at the driver's seat while it is parked. And you two can happily open and close the back doors. We can film it. That is all.
That is all. I cannot get out and open the door for you.
Nope.
So I did have the same exact thought. I was like, why isn't the driver opening the door? That makes sense.
But it's this long shot of him walking all the
Oh my
way
God.
around. And I was just like,
I think maybe it was supposed to be chivalry. I don't know.
But then just have him let her in and then cut to next
Yep.
scene. We're at the we cut to next scene, and here we are back at the Silicon Valley house, and her best friend shows up, and I was like, oh. I had given up on that plot. I didn't give a shit about that. I really did not think this was coming up again.
I thought it was just an impetus for moving on, and instead, no.
I'm not good with dogs. Well, then you're gonna have to learn. And they're not potty trained, so they're just gonna pee and poo all over the place, so please clean that up.
Then she becomes very vindictive, which, I enjoyed. She's like, I'm not gonna talk to you. You have to take care of these fucking 10 puppies that I have left over. Then maybe I'll talk to you. So she just leaves her at home. I was like, who was watching them before? But it doesn't matter. The best friend reveals to her that the fiance has multiple girlfriends and families all over the country. And she mass emailed them all to tell them all about each other. And I was like, that's the movie I want to watch.
Right?
I found a secret server with all of his emails. There were even pictures. Yeah, it was bad.
12 Wives of Christmas.
Yes, though.
Where they all then gang up and figure out a way to ruin him.
Well, because then she's like, we need to get revenge.
I think we should kidnap him and tie him up and tattoo his forehead and have it say, I'm a serial cheater, punch me in the face.
And the friend's like, yeah, I love him.
Let's do it, yeah. So he becomes obsessed with her and all of her ideas, and suddenly, because she's a strong woman who challenges his ideals, he can't be without her. And he's like, you have to come to New York with me for this big business pitch. And she's like, that's not part of my job description. I'm not fucking going to New York.
You really don't have a choice. I'm being nice by asking. Either you're going or you're fired.
Oh, when you put it like that.
And you're fired! What? Great, give me that severance package, bitch. What?
Right? Okay, cool. Great. I don't have to work and it's Christmas. Bye.
You clearly didn't really need me at this job anyway, / you're stealing all my ideas, so see you later.
I quit.
Like, he's clearly incompetent. Like, he clearly is bad at his job, so I don't know why he's in charge. It turns out later we find out it's because he's like a trust fund kid, but like the movie sets him up as, well, it really sets the sister up as, she's like, oh, I got in early with the startup. I bought this fabulous house in Silicon Valley before it was expensive. Like, she's got this whole backstory about how she was worked for multiple startups, and I'm like, so she seems like the one that's like machinationing all of this?
Right? Instead, she's just playing matchmaker. Like, that was what was so weird. Why couldn't she have invested the money if she has all this money from all these startups? Like, invest it in another one.
Don't put your own money in the show. You don't put your own money in the show.
Well, fair.
Never put your own money in the show.
So yes, he blackmails her into going on this business trip, and they're on the flight, which was clearly where they spent all of their money to have this plane set. And
also, I loved that, like, his side was like pure daylight, and hers was just black behind the window.
Everything was like extreme close up, extreme close up, extreme close up. When they, like, at a certain point, I think they lost the startup building. Like, they couldn't get the room anymore, and so they had to do just like close up with like fuzzy background, like a color or whatever, because that was not where they were. At a certain point, it was like, oh no, you lost that location.
We lost that set, but we have a conference room now, and that's what we'll use, and it'll be fine.
So they're on the plane, and they clearly take off and absolutely are flying. And she...
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I died at this too, because they show the plane taking off, and it's like an old, like, whatever, right? And then they cut back at some point, and it's like an A380, which is the double-decker plane that, like, does not fly in between San Francisco and New York. And it's just, like, the worst CGI'd plane ever. And I was like, what is this?
So then she's like, well, let's get to the bottom of why you really hate dogs. And he has this flashback where it was very, like, I don't know, have you seen The Producers?
Yeah.
It was very like, the wood needs a corn and the cows need a milking. Alvin!
And then one day I came home from school and Kobe, he wasn't there.
I was running through fields of alfalfa with my collie Rex.
And I see my mother standing on the back porch in a worn but clean gingham gown. And I hear her calling out to me, Alvin!
It was very like, where are we? What's happening? Like, this seems like a different era and time and place.
Wait, there's like this young kid that like shows up on a fence and he's like...
you know, it's like Huck Finn all of a sudden. And you're like, what the fuck is this? And it turns out his dog ran away and he was sad.
Of course.
And he doesn't like dogs now. That was it.
Wouldn't that be a story that he told all the time, since he has a startup that makes callers to find your lost pet?
Yeah, like that only makes sense character-wise. Like, well, when I was 6 and I lost my dog Rex, you know, yeah, hey, right. I realized we needed it, and it would have saved me all of this trauma, but, you know, no. He's an idiot. He's incompetent. He's a trust fund baby that never had to work for anything in his life. If that's what they were going for, they nailed it. They finally get to New York, and they're getting out of yet another car that they clearly had permits to film in front of this hotel. No one seems like they're in the same room. It's all like really weird.
This hotel scene was so funny with them being like, they get out, wow, gorgeous. Wow, this is my favorite hotel in New York. It was so weird.
We are definitely in New York in front of a hotel right now. But did you notice? She gets out of the car, does not have her dog. In every scene, she's carrying her dog, has it under her arm.
Yeah.
She gets out of the car, no dog. And I was like, did she forget her dog in the car? Is someone carrying it in a carrier? Oh no, cut to different angle. It's there. She has it under her arm. I had this whole moment of like,
the least of my problems with this film.
No, but I was like, oh no, did she lose the dog? Where's the dog? Oh my God, is this gonna be a plot line? Are they gonna have to find it? Are they gonna be running around New York, baby's day out, and she's looking for the dog? Oh no, there it is. It's right there. It was an editorial error.
Yeah. Yep. But I don't think I would have ever guessed where this movie goes next. So he gives her the penthouse.
The penthouse that she walks down a long corridor with many rooms. So it is in fact not the penthouse. There was like 7 rooms she walked by, and I was like,
the top floor. Sure.
Then this is not the penthouse then. Okay.
Right. Then she's like, they're snuggling up, getting ready for bed, and she gets a call from him. And then he like comes to the door, and this was very sexual for...
It was. Wait. We have to mention that he is on his bed wearing shoes that he had been walking on the New York streets with, on the bed, with the shoes. I could not trust this man.
Because I take presents to kids at local homeless shelter.
Sorry. He comes upstairs. They're having a sexy chat on the phone. And he knocks on the door. I mean, they fucked, right? They fucked. Presumably they fucked.
They kiss very much. I mean, they don't show anything, but it's an implied sex scene, which is very, very unheard of for these movies.
I was like, what? At this point, they're down in the lobby, and the ex-fiance...
Have you seen my fiancé? He's upstairs. Are you going upstairs? Tell my fiancé I'm looking for him.
Shows up, and I was like, no, I really don't care about this. Like, I really did not need, like, I thought this was just end scene. Like, but no, they keep coming back. And this was when the music, the like Christmas music cues were so loud, it was drowning out the dialogue. And I was like, what's that? I don't know what's happening. What's going on?
Aaron. I didn't expect to see you back in New York so soon.
You are such a pig.
But also, like, this was so confusing where I'm like, why is he there?
How did he know that she was there? How did any of this happen? He's like, oh, baby, let's get back together.
And she's like, what happened with all the others, huh? And he's like, yeah, they left me.
They all dumped me when best friend lady who can't act mass emailed them all that I was cheating on all of them.
But please, come back to me.
But please,
we can be together. And
you're the only one that didn't get that email and reject me, so come back. And handsome startup incompetent guy shows up just in time.
I know we can make this work.
Get your hands off. Let go of me.
This fight escalated so quickly. I was surprised they paid for the stunt work, honestly.
And then I just love that this woman comes out, help, police officer, there's a fight in the lobby.
Oh my God. And so the startup guy and the boyfriend get arrested.
Who is this guy?
He's the loser who dumped me on my wedding day.
Who are you? I'm her boyfriend. What?
What?
You're gonna have to do this pitch on your own. Again, this is not Working Girl.
My God.
She is a dog therapist. She has no, like, there's no reason the sister should be the one doing all of this.
Yes.
This makes no sense. So she gets in yet another cab and goes to the big pitch meeting that we definitely have been culminating towards the whole film. And Mr. Insert Japanese name here. We know because they play really subtle Oriental music, and there is a gong. So we know that he is, in fact, Japanese. I was like, oh boy, this is...
Mr. Akuboto will see you now.
Okay, amazing. Thank you.
We're ready for you to come into the meeting. Cut to down on the street. We never see one hide nor hair of Mr. Japanese businessman. Nothing. We don't even have a voiceover of like, okay.
Right,
so
we don't see her presenting anything. And suddenly, he is running down the street just in time to run into her. I thought this was him being like, I made it just in time. I can do the pitch with you. And then she's like, oh, I already did the pitch. And I was like, what?
It was all going so well. I had that room. I had that room so focused for 20 straight minutes. Then their translator came.
Yes! I was like, oh, is she out there getting herself together, or whatever?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
She's like, nope. I already did it. And I failed because I thought I was doing great. And I talked for 20 minutes until I realized their translator wasn't there. And they didn't understand a word that I said. And we lost the account.
But they didn't need a translator, right? I mean, they spoke English, right?
No.
And then he's like, it's cool, don't worry. I met someone in prison who...
I reached out to a potential investor whom I've known a very, very long time. He wants to finance everything. It's going to be a very, very Merry Christmas.
Agreed to give us all the funding that we needed. So it didn't matter anyway.
You're like, what?
This is when I was like, oh, did they get shut down? Like, and production was halted and they just like went out into the empty streets of New York in 2020 and just started filming stuff? Because this was when it like really started to fall apart. I was like, what now? Like, we didn't even skip that. Who cares? Moving on. Anyway, next scene.
I have a present for you.
Wait, what? I didn't get you one.
Open it.
Because I forgot it was Christmas.
Oh boy. So then cut to Silicon Valley and there's two weird twins walking down the staircase and they're dressed in the same outfit. And I was like, what's this though? How come
I don't remember this.
They got, it was like clearly like the producer's children or something. It was just like two twins like in the same dress, like walking down the stairs. And I was like, so is this going somewhere? So long, farewell?
Is this Shining? Like what's
happening? No, then they just like exit the shot and the sister's walking behind them. And I was like, okay, sure. Why not? So they're having their Christmas party and we find out finally the sister is like, oh.
Nice to talk to you just a tiny bit. I knew that you would be perfect for my brother. So I offered you a job.
Just to clear up this loose end, because this movie doesn't make sense, I scouted you and stalked you online and knew that you would be the perfect match for my brother. So I hired you under false pretenses and made you move across the country because I knew your fiance was cheating on you and you were going to get left at the altar and wouldn't be bringing him with you, ? And set you up with my brother. Surprise. I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know. I do not. But he then announces that, in fact, his father...
And though Mr. Akabota told us no, I found us a new angel investor. What? I'd like everyone to meet Jerry, my father.
Just gave them the money, and it's all fine now.
And the dad's like, just don't lose the family money. And he's like, I'm going to make sure not to lose my inheritance.
Never put your own money in the show! Get it? Got it. Good.
And I was like, you will be bankrupt by the end of the year. He is irresponsible and incompetent. All right, because then there's 4 puppies left because that plot. And he's like, I'll just adopt all 4. And I was like, oh no. No. You barely have time for a puppy. She already has a dog. Don't adopt 4 puppies.
Right.
That is animal cruelty, sir. You are an incompetent mess. No.
Right? I like if there was one, but there's 1 puppy left. Well, I'll take, no, that one's mine. You know, like that would be one thing. It was so weird.
4?
Why 12? Why what? It was just so random. Because 12 days of Christmas, is that what it's supposed to be?
I think that was the original plot. I bet the original plot was each dog was going to represent something that was bringing them closer together, and it was going to be some partridge in
like
a
the
dog
9
in a pear
kittens of
tree.
Christmas.
You know, something like that. But this was just like, anyway, those dogs that were getting adopted, great.
Yeah.
And now her friend is just like squatting with her. I don't even know. This
It was just
movie,
there. I'm like, why? Wow. Yeah.
This movie was wild. This is the density of failure situation where every single person was making the exact wrong choice at every possible moment. That is the only way to describe this film. Full stop.
Elizabeth Berkley is not there to save it, and you know.
I loved watching this movie. I loved this movie. It was a diamond in the rough.
I think I laughed harder in this for sure than in Clusterfunk. So.
Oh, 100%. This was the best Christmas movie I watched this year because it was insane. Truly one of those just like, you can't try to make this. Like, you can't attempt to make this of a mess.
No.
Something went horribly wrong. I don't know. It's the best. Go watch it.
Go.
And we're back. If you skipped ahead for spoilers, we're back.
Yes. There we go.
Please go watch
Oh my
12
God.
Pups of Christmas. Please, please. Woof, woof, woof.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yep, I believe in you. We believe in you. You're gonna do it.
Woof. Woof. So, speaking of dog Christmas movies, I watched a portion of Avaryl Corgi Christmas. Now, I think having watched 12 Pups of Christmas and then watching this, it was downhill. It's fine. There's a cute dog.
Cute corgis?
One cute corgi. Single mom. Works too much. Has a weird, annoying son. Her sister is a cop, but she really looks like she's a stripper cop, and she's just gonna like, oh, woo, party time.
We got a report of a break and enter. Well, it's not breaking and entering. We're family and...
Because there's a single dad with a daughter, and he's got a dog, and we watched my dog. It was like fine, it was like, sure, whatever. But at this point, having watched like 15 of these, I was like, I'm good. But the mother, who never doesn't have full set of false lashes on.
Hey, I'm sorry to...
Ben.
Hi.
Wistfully, like, kind of looks off at the single dad who's leaving and is just like, oh, possibilities. Like, she doesn't actually say that, but that's what she's saying with her eyes.
Gotcha.
But they left it as a 2-shot, and her son is in the shot, and the actor clearly was like, are we still filming? I'm just gonna keep my face neutral because, yes. So that kind of made me laugh. He did tell her to relax about 8 times, and I was like, okay, movie, all right.
You think you're just relaxing a bit? It is Christmas. Sit back a bit. Relax.
Can you stop telling me to relax?
I'm sure it was cute.
Sure.
I'm sure they get together in the end. I'm sure she works less and finds a small town to work less at, and the son and the daughter can share the pup, the little corgi, for Christmas. It's cute.
Lovely.
So there was that one. But, I mean, it's no 12 Pups at Christmas.
What is? Honestly,
it was
like
really
that was a rare...
It was... I was skewed. The bell curve was just woo, woo,
woo!
So
outlier.
If you like corgis, it's cute. Oh, look at that cute dog. It's cute. That was kind of the highlight. Look at that cute dog. It's cute.
Well, so speaking of pets, I watched A Kitten for Christmas, which is
just one,
an older one, just the one. It's the prequel to 9 Kittens for Christmas, which I did not get around to watching. It is the same cast, which includes the kid from Superman, from Bryan Singer's little, diddling at the dark of night. Bryan Singer's Superman. You don't remember that?
Yes. Ralph? I feel like his name is something Ralph?
Oh, maybe. I have no idea.
Brandon, Ralph, Brendan?
You want me to look it up?
Nah, it's fine.
That sounds about right. He plays a firefighter and also a house flipper. I think it's like he fixes up houses that he lives in while he fixes them up, and then once they're fixed up, then he sells it for a profit and then moves on to another one. It does seem like a lot of work, but it's like, oh, he retiles the kitchen. I don't know, whatever.
He's Superman. He can do it all.
Exactly. He was pretty good. The guy who plays the fire chief, he seemed familiar, but I didn't bother to look him up because whatever. The cast was all pretty good. They were better acting level than most of them, which I think is why they got a second one. She was good. She plays, she's studying to be a vet, and she's almost done, and she works at the pet store. And I forget how they meet randomly, but they do. And
he's a fireman, so he saves a kitten out of a tree, and then they meet.
Not out of a tree, but he does save a cat. He saves a cat from a dog on his front lawn. And then the cat sneaks into his house, and he's like, well, now this cat won't leave. And she's like, well, he's great and whatever. And then they fall in love, and it was cute. It was all just perfectly fine, but like a good, tight one. It wasn't a lot of fluff. It wasn't a lot of bullshit nonsense.
Right.
It was like, do you want a nice, cute Christmas movie where like they fall in love and there's a cat and he's shirtless and, you know, like there's firefighting things? Love it. Great. I might watch 9 Kittens for Christmas because, you know, he'll probably be shirtless again. It was fine. It was good.